Do you know what one of the greatest atrocities is in this world? One of the greatest disservices, one of the greatest crimes, one of the greatest sins is. It is to deny people knowledge, knowledge of self, knowledge as it relates to anything that can help you be a better person, a healthier person, a more prosperous person. That's one of the greatest evils, denying someone that ability or even access to that knowledge. Well, it happens all of the time. It's not new. It's been going on for thousands of years, hundreds of years, up until modern society as I'm speaking to you now. Some may have heard me speak of censorship being real in the world, real in America. Why would someone censor the truth unless they stood to benefit? But on these airwaves, on these platforms where you find me, but not just myself, I'm not alone, but on these platforms, the powers that control them are working in tandem with other entities that don't want the people to be informed. Because when you have knowledge of self, when you have knowledge whereby you can elevate yourself as a human being and your family, your station in life, and so forth, the people who are in the 1% who control the power in the world, for the most part, they don't want it to come to fruition. They don't want to see the commoners, the small people, the middle class people, the poor people especially, expand their knowledge base. So people like myself, such as myself, when I offer information, trust and believe I've studied. And I'm not just speaking just to be speaking. So because I'm not a multi-millionaire and I can't fight them back on that level, from an influence level, they try to shut me down before I even get to that point. I have been on the air for many, many years now, and I should have way more subscribers. I should have expanded my horizons, so to speak, a long time ago. But because of the context of things that I share, because of the truthfulness that I share, because of the knowledge that I expend on these airways, if you will, they try their very best to discourage me, people like me, and to even tear us down, and even ultimately at some point remove us altogether for sharing what? The truth. So here recently, about a week ago, I shared a video that's not recent. Uh, the video is a bit older, and I talked about foods that you can eat that would help cure cancer. But the modern day so-called medical system doesn't want to hear about anything that heals disease and or cancer inclusive. They don't want to hear that. You know why? There is no money in it for them if you educate people about natural healing. I could go down the rabbit hole real deep, but let me tell you something. When God, Yahweh, wants a people to have knowledge, they're going to have it and they're going to get it. And He's going to use people like myself and others to share that knowledge so that we are awoke or awakened. I was a bit frustrated. It's not the first time that my videos have been removed from a certain platform, but I got sort of a warning, not a strike per se, but I got sort of a warning telling me that I was uh, putting out medical misinformation, because as long as it doesn't uh, follow the CDC, Center of Disease Control, or the WHO, World Health Organization, if it doesn't jive with what their agenda is or what their narratives are, it's misinformation. Trust and believe, it's not misinformation. They just don't want you to have that information. So they removed my video. But I want to encourage you today. I have had family members and friends die from cancer and other diseases. And there are cures. And the powers that be are aware that there are cures. They just don't want us to know what they are, because they lose money when we become aware and awakened. And once we become aware and awakened and then begin to take action, they lose business. They lose customers, because that's what we really are to them. We are consumers. We are customers to them. And when you lose customers, you lose your customers' money, the insurance money, and cash money, and so on. So I just wanted to let you know that they have not stopped censoring the truth, the powers that be. Now, what's interesting to me is that there are some that will respond to my video or videos like this, and they'll say, well, if you stop touting something that's not approved by this group or that group, then they won't censor. There you go, right there. Those very individuals are part of that group. So I said before, I will forever say it, you must study the world that you live in, and you must understand how things work, how they function. I don't live in a bubble. I feel sorry for those that do, who are still stuck in the cage and don't know how to come out, who can't use critical thinking, and who don't use common sense, and who don't use logic, and who don't use constructive criticism to come up to a conclusion that what we've been told, for the most part, has been a lie for a long time. And what's interesting is that there are people who say they want to be healthy, but they trust the people in the white jackets and smocks before they trust the truth, and before they do the work to try to heal their own issues. That was all I had to say. But before I conclude, would you please study your own self, your own body, your own physiology, and learn how you work and how you function, instead of putting your authority and your power in another person just simply because they have a diploma or a license hanging on the wall. What's to say that you can't learn you? Or are you afraid to learn you? It requires work, doesn't it? This is Brother Teacher.